Hello, good evening, everyone. Please, if you can hear me, kindly drop a comment. Just type I can hear you in the comment section, please. If you can hear me, kindly type I can hear you. All right. Good evening to you all. Um, so we're going to continue from where we stopped yesterday. Yesterday we analyzed the design brief we had. And today what we're going to do will be to move into designing proper. So there won't be much talking. We're going to be doing more of work. However, I will want to know if you can see my screen. Please, if you can see my screen, drop a comment. Tell me you can see my screen, please. Just type I can see your screen in the comment section, please. I just want to be sure we're together on the same page. Can everyone see my screen, please? Okay, thank you. All right, since you all can see my screen, what we're going to do will be to move into designing proper. Now, the tool we're going to be using today is Photoshop. Now, in our previous class, I have mentioned that the tool you're going to use for your design does not really matter. It doesn't matter if you're using Canva. It doesn't matter if you're using Photoshop. It doesn't matter if you're using CorelDRAW or whatever. What matters is that you're using the right tool at the right time. Now, in our previous class, I have talked about raster graphics and vector graphics, where I said that they are two different types of graphics, and the type you're about to create will always determine will always determine the tool you're going to use. So if you're creating a raster based graphic, obviously Photoshop should be one of the go tools for you. If you're creating a vector based graphic, you can think of CorelDRAW. You can also think of Adobe Illustrator, amongst others. And summaringly, I mentioned that the difference between the two is that one is vector based in the sense that it uses mathematical formulas. So while you are resizing it, or when you're resizing it, it does not pixelate. And by pixelating, I mean it does not display the tiny dots that make up the image. That's the pixels don't get to show. On the other hand, if you are creating a raster based graphic, or you're working on a raster based graphic, what happens is when you zoom it beyond certain level, it pixelates. So right now, what we want to do does not really require us using a vector based graphic software, right? Because we're trying to create a marketing poster for Kudi Track, which was the case study we looked at yesterday for Kudi Track. So we're not going to be creating anything that requires us using only a vector-based graphics, because it's not a logo. So when we zoom, it will not pixelate. Since what we're trying to design now has a fixed size, it's not like it's going to be resized at some point. There is no point us going to use a vector-based graphic. We can decide to use a vector-based graphic. We can decide to use a raster-based graphic at this point in time. And the simple reason is because the design is going to be fixed. So if it's going to be a 2x2, what we're creating, then it will be 2x2, and that 2x2 is what we will use across board, right? Unlike logo, you're designing a logo, the logo can be blown up and used on a very big board. It can be resized and used on a t-shirt. It can be resized and used on a book cover or on any branding piece. As a result of that, we need to use a vector-based graphic software when we are creating anything that is in line or anything similar to a logo. So basically, what we want to do is to design a promotional flyer or poster for Kudi Track. Kudi Track is a newly developed app, and people need to know about Kudi Track. People need to hear about Kudi Track. People need to use Kudi Track. So in order for Kudi Track app to be accessible or to be used by everyone or most of the people within the Nigerian community, because the app is targeted at the Nigerian people. Within the Nigerian community, we need to promote the app because a lot of people don't know that we have any app like Kudi Track. And what we need to do in order to make sure that the app becomes or goes public is, for us, one of the things we need to do is for us to put the app out there by creating a promotional flyer that will be used either digitally or by as a hard copy, that's as a printed copy. So what we'll be designing right now is the digital copy of the Kudi Track promotional flyer. Now, please, before we start designing, there is something we need to have in mind. We have looked at our design brief, right? Even though we'll be referencing it at the course of this class, but then we have our design brief on ground. The next thing we need to do is to decide if the design is going to be printed or if it's going to be viewed on screen. This helps inform your choice of color mode. There's something we call color mode. So it could be a CMYK or an RGB. So if a design is to be displayed on the screen, if it is to be used digitally or viewed using any digital gadget, that design has to be done using the RGB color mode. Now, the RGB is an acronym for red, green, and blue. That's how the system understands and displays every color you have selected on it. So there's a science behind it. I won't be going into details. On the other hand, if the design you want to print, if the design you want to curate is going to be printed, then the design color mode has to be on CMYK. Yes, there are other color modes, but I won't be going into details. Let's just stick to these two basic or most common ones. So it's like this. RGB, red, green, blue, are for digital designs. Anything that is going to be displayed on screen. It doesn't matter if it's a laptop, a phone, or any digital gadget. On the other hand, the CMYK is for every and any design that is going to be printed. So if your color mode is set to RGB and you create a design that is supposed to be printed, right? Now, this is what happened. At the end of the day, there will be disparity in the color. You might select pink, let's say fuchsia pink, while creating your design, right? Now, because it's set to RGB color mode, what happens is after printing, you will see a different shade of pink completely. So it's not going to be a case of what you see is what you get. They are going to be two different things entirely. In essence, understanding or setting your color mode before you start designing is very, very important. So it's as important as you having your design brief, because if you don't do that, what you see on the screen is going to be different from what will be printed in a case where the design is supposed to be printed. And if it is if you set it to the CMYK and what you are trying to create is a design for a digital piece, the color you have in mind will be absolutely different from what you're going to get. Now, CMYK, on the other hand, is an acronym for cyan, magenta, and key. Yellow and key. Cyan, magenta, yellow, and key. That key is black. So instead of saying cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, we're saying cyan, magenta, yellow, and key, because black is a key color in that very context. Please, if you can hear me, I need a comment. I can hear your reaction in the comment section, please. I just want to be sure we're together. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. So right now, what you're looking at is the Photoshop interface. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll be using Photoshop for this. And what you're seeing on your screen right now is the Photoshop interface. right? But like I mentioned earlier, the tool you're using does not matter. All that matters is stick to the rules and you'll be good. So now the first thing we need to do is to set up our canvas. That's the first thing we have to do. Set up our canvas. That's our work environment or our work area. So we have to set it up. How do we set it up? We decide the size of the piece we want to design, right? We decide the color mode, right? We decide the number of artboard. By artboard, I mean the number of canvas we're going to be working on. And then we also decide if we want the canvas to come out colored or not. Though in that case, the background of the canvas does not really matter. So the first thing we're going to do will be to change the title. Right now you can see we have preset details here, so there's a space for us to enter title. Now what I'm going to do will be to type the title of this very piece we're about to create. So we could say Kudi track yes Kudi track promotional flyer. So this could be the title for our design. And then here you can see we have width and we have height, right? No, I just want to know if you can see my screen. I think that's my concern at this point in time. If you can see my screen. Because someone is saying you are audible. I don't think that's my question. My question is if you can see my screen. It's good to know that you can hear me, but then another concern is if you can see my screen, because it's a practical class, so you should be able to see what I'm doing. Please let me know if you can see my screen, please. Just drop it in the comment section. If you can see my screen, please, I need to know before we proceed. I'm not getting feedback. Can you see my screen? If you can, please drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know that you can see my screen. I just want to be sure. All right, thank you. One person has responded. Sandra and Co, are you still on the call? Please let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, thank you. All right, so now after the title section, right below it, you can see we have width, we have height, right? Now this is where we decide the size of our design. Now on a normal base or on a regular base, what you need to do is to use a tape. That's if you don't know the default size of what you want to design, you could use a tape, the normal measuring tape, the ones the tailors use, or a ruler, right? Or anything that allows you to take or check the unit of measurement of a particular item. You can just use it to measure that thing you want to. Let's say you want to recreate something, or you want to check the size of a space where a particular thing is going to be fixed. So you could use any of those things to check it. However, in this case now, I already have this a particular size in mind, right? Because it's a promotional flyer. It's something I have done in the past, or something I've been doing, so I know what the various sizes that we could have, and I don't have to measure anything. However, for you as a beginner, please, there's a need for you to either know these things off heart, or you try to take measurement. So this is what happens. Here you are expected to select a particular unit of measurement. So let's take an instance. You use a ruler to measure the flyer you want to recreate, right? Or you want to design. What you need to do is to make sure that the unit with which you measure your design piece is the same unit you're going to use to set up your work environment. In essence, if you use inches while taking the measurement, while trying to impute it here, on your Canva, you're expected to use inches. If you use millimeters, do the same thing here. If you use centimeters, you do the same thing here. So it saves you the stress of having to think the whole thing through or having to do any form of conversion. So that is very important. The first thing we're going to do will be to set our unit of measurement. Now, quickly, let me chip in something. 12 inches make 1 feet. 12 inches make 1 feet. Please get that. 12 inches make 1 feet. So in a case where you're using a design tool that does not have feet as a unit of measurement, because there was a time when Photoshop or Adobe Suite software never had feet included in their unit of measurement. So you always see centimeters, you see millimeters, you see pixels amongst others, but you will never see feet. You see inches, but you will never see feet. So have it at the back of your mind that if you stumble on such a design tool, 12 inches make a feet. So if you're doing a 2 by 2, you're going to say 12 times 2 will give you 2 inches, 2 feet, and then another 12 by 2 will give you 2 feet. So that makes it a total of 2 by 2. So your width is going to be 2, your height is going to be 2. On another hand, if you're doing a 2 by 1, let's say your design is a 2 by 1 or a 1 by 2, the first part will take 12 inches and then the second one will be 12 times 2 because 12 inches make a feet. So now we're going to set our unit of measurement to inches. Now, usually we use feet for banners. We use feet for banners, any big or large design. When it comes to little things, book covers, jotters, handbills, and other little things, we use feet. We use inches rather as our unit of measurement. So right now we're going to set it to inches because what we're trying to create is not something big. So inches. Now let's say the size of our flyer is going to be, let's do this. Yes, and then we have below our height. Now you can see we have a place with resolution written on it. Please, this resolution is very important. Knowing and getting to use the right resolution is very important, because if you're using the wrong resolution, your image or your design piece is going to pixelate at the end of the day. I have mentioned that pixelating simply means the design piece showing the tiny dots that make up that design piece. So when you begin to see those pixels, which are the tiny things or dots that make up a design piece, automatically your design is set to be pixelating. Now, the moment it starts pixelating, what happens is you don't get to see anything clearly. Your text disappears, your image disappears, and then the entire design piece just becomes a total mess. So in order to ensure that does not happen, it is important that you set your resolution. Now, when it comes to digital designs, they will always tell you 150 pixels is okay, right? 150 pixel is okay, but for me, I always love to go all the way out. But when it comes to print design, please make sure that you don't have anything below 300. Some will tell you it doesn't matter, but to be on the safe side, always have, they'll tell you once it's above 150 it is okay. But for me, please, to be sure that your design comes out very sharp, always set your resolution to 300. Now, this is where we'll set our resolution. You can see already by default, I'm having 300. Now you can see 300 ppi. We call it ppi. That's pixel per inch. Ppi, pixel per inch. Now, directly below the resolution, you can see our color mode, right? This is where you decide if your design is going to be printed or if it's going to be viewed on screen, if it's going to be a digital design. So here now you can see by default I have RGB color mode, which is an acronym for red, green, blue. Now, and I have mentioned that once it is set to RGB, it simply means that the design is going to be viewed on screen. So I'm going to leave it at that because what we are about to create is not going to be printed. If it were to be printed, I would have changed it from RGB to CMYK, which is an acronym for cyan, magenta, yellow, and key. And the key stands for black. And the background of our content does not really matter. Here by default, we have white, but right beside it, you can see that we have a drop down menu. So we can click and then pick any other color of our choice. But it doesn't matter because whichever we were going to cover the background, the canvas with our design. So it does not really matter. Now, that is that about that. We just go ahead and then we click on create. So you can see that our canvas has popped up. By default, we are having white. Why? Because I did not change the color. I hope we're all following, please. I want to be sure we're together. Can you all see this? My canvas. Okay. So you can see that the canvas is white, right? That is our work area. This is our canvas, which is going to be our work environment. This is where we're going to create our design piece. So I can. Okay, who said no? Oh no, it shouldn't be black. Please, if you're seeing a white canvas, please let me know. Someone is saying he's seeing black. It shouldn't be black. Okay, let me just draw something on the canvas and color it. Let's see. I just drew a rectangle and I colored the rectangle yellow. Please, can you see that? I just drew a rectangle now and I colored the rectangle orange, not yellow, please. Orange. Please, if you can see it, let me know. You still cannot see it. Okay, let me refresh and see. That will help. A minute, please. How about now, please? A moment, please, guys. How about now? It's still black. How about now? Oh, wow. Okay, let me just restart the Photoshop. So I'll launch it again. Please, at what point did the screen turn black? Was it at the point when I was setting up the page, or it has been black all this while? Please, I need to know. From the start. Ow. So sorry about that. And you never mentioned. Sorry. Oh, okay. Sorry, please. I'm trying to restart it. Can you see my screen now? Is it any better now? Please, I need to know if you can see my screen. Okay. Please, how about now? Okay, so I'm going to end the live stream and restart it again, please. Let's see if that will help. I'll stop streaming now. Please let me know if you can see my screen now. Okay, thank you. One person said she can see my screen. Please, if you can see my screen, let me know, please. I'm waiting for feedback, guys. Can you all see my screen now? Okay. Who else can see my screen, please? On the screen, you will see Welcome to Illustrator. I decided to switch. Please, who else can see it? Okay, thank you. So I'll assume you all can see my screen at this point in time. So I'm so sorry about the technical page. Now, what I'm going to do will be to start the entire process all over again, the setting up of the page. So we're going to click on New. If you can see where my cursor is, I'll click on New. So you can see the dialog box that displayed is the same as the one that displayed when I clicked on Photoshop new button. So now I'm going to set up the page here. I'll just repeat the entire thing I did when we're using Photoshop. So I'll just type, give the document a title, set my unit of measurement to inches. Please, I hope you can all see that. Okay. I'm going to set a bleed area. I've set my bleed to 0.125 because it's a small piece of design. Change my color mode from CMYK to RGB. Leave my resolution at 300 ppi, that's pixel per inch. I'll just click on create. Now we are here, we have set up our canvas. So what we need to do right now is to start designing. So I hope you all can see my screen. Prior to now, we had our design brief, right? We had analyzed our design brief, essence of the, okay. Okay, I'm using Illustrator right now because I don't know why my Photoshop is malfunctioning. So I've decided to switch to Illustrator. But then the interface of Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop app. Can you hear me now? Please let me know if you can hear me. I think the network is trying to play prank on me here. Please, if you can hear me, let me know. No sound up till now. All right, since you can hear me now, we can proceed. So I was saying that our design brief is now more focused because we are designing one piece. Now we're not looking at Kudi Track as an entire product. We're looking at just this promotional flyer we're going to create or we're about to design for Kudi track. So the overall thing we'll be looking at is, sorry, the overall project overview. The project overview is this: Kudi track is a fintech mobile application designed to help users track their income and all of that. We already know the story. Now, the objective of this very promotional flyer now, not the entire existence of Kudi track, is to communicate the core benefit of Kudi track, the advantages or benefits of using Kudi track. That's one. The second essence is to capture attention instantly on social media platforms. So we want a situation where the moment people open their app, the first thing, or they stumble on our design, the first thing that they should see is something that will call their attention to Kudi track. The third thing is to encourage users to download and try the app. So for this promotional flyer, these are the core things. Now, who are our target audience? When we talk about target audience of Kudi track, we should be talking about people who are young. We don't expect an 80-year-old, 70-year-old, 90 and 100 to start using Kudi track. So our target audience are the young people basically within the ages of 18 and 35, right? We're looking at students who are in school, who get money from their parents, who freelancers, who want to track their income, and also people who are working class professionals, right? And tech savvy family users. So these are our target audience. What is the key message we want to pass across to them now? The key message is we want to tell them to take control of their money, take control of their finances using Kudi track. Now, what are the core features? We already mentioned or talked about the core features of Kudi track. Now, because one of our major reason for creating this promotional poster is for users to be able to download the Kudi track, two things are involved. If it were to be a design that will be printed, we would have added the website, right? The website where people can go to in order to download this app. But because it is a digital design, we're going to create a CTA button. CTA is an acronym for call to action. Call to action button that users are going to click on once, and then automatically it will take them to the Play Store where they can download, or to any place where they can download Kudi track app. Now, what exactly is our design direction? We have concluded that it is a fin app that is focused, a financial app. That's what I mean by fin app, that is focused on people's finances, and once that is mentioned, growth comes to play. Trust comes to play. But aside that, we're also looking at it that it helps people grow their income, because when they are able to monitor their income, automatically they can grow their wealth. So we talked about growth. Now, I have decided to work with green, because the key message we want to convey is when you monitor your expenses, you can grow your wealth. That is our key message. That is our unique, or the Kudi track unique selling point. So in view of that, I have decided to use green as my primary color. Now, my secondary color, because when you're creating a design, you must have a minimum of 3 sets of colors, or max 3 sets of colors: your primary colors, your secondary colors, and your tertiary or accent colors. So my primary color is going to be green. My secondary colors are going to be white, right? Either white or soft gray, something that can complement the green, because I'm not trying to create a monochrome color palette. So I'm going to have green. Now, one color that can easily complement green and allow my design to come out right is white. So the next thing is for my CTA, that's my call to action button. The color I'll be using will be any bright highlighting color. Most at times, the color we are expected to use for CTAs are green. There are colors you don't use for call to action buttons. You don't use gray colors. You don't use you don't use pink, right? You don't use purple, unless in rare cases where the entire design is centered around one color. That's the monochromatic color palette. That's when you begin to think of, okay, if everything there is purple, different shades of purple, then you can decide to use purple. Please, are we together? If we're together, please let me know. I need a comment I need a reaction or a comment in the comment section, please. The screen is black again. This is serious. Okay, so it's been an hour of back and forth. Can we reschedule this class, please, for tomorrow? I think network is the problem. Can we reschedule for tomorrow? Please, if you agree with me, let me know. But if you want us to manage it like this, then please also drop your opinion in the comment section, please. Okay, it's all right. It's okay. Thank you very much for your understanding, and I'm very sorry for the inconvenience. It's something I have no control over. The network is acting up. See you all tomorrow, please, at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Nigerian time. Thank you. Meanwhile, I am going to share the design brief for this very design we're going to create with you also. You can go through it, and that will save us the stress of me having to explain anything on the design brief. So when we meet tomorrow, we just go into design proper. All right, good night, everyone.